Today, we're excited to spotlight an artist whose journey is as dynamic as her sound. From growing up in the rugged beauty of Alaska to shaping her voice in the Pacific Northwest and the soulful heart of Southern Georgia, Sydney Dale has already lived a musical life rich with texture and story. Her blend of pop, jazz, R&B, and folk, paired with lyrics that cut with honesty and emotion, has made her one of the most compelling emerging voices in the region. And with the first single released at just 14 years old, Sydney's already shown the kind of depth, discipline, and creative clarity that sets true artists apart. Sydney, thanks so much for joining me today. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Doing awesome. Thanks for hopping on here with me. I want to start off by, tapping into the fact that, you've kind of, I guess, hopped around in different places from as far as Alaska to along the Pacific Northwest and now Georgia. I'm sure you got quite a few moments and stories from those chapters of your life that you could probably share have shaped you as an artist. Is that true?
I mean, when I live in the Pacific Northwest right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I honestly don't remember a lot from those places because I was very young.
Gotcha.
But I do remember making friends and like having to socialize and that aspect of it and like a lot
Yeah.
of change at a very young age. So
Mm-hmm.
I guess you could say that.
Yeah, for sure. So currently, where are you located at right now?
I'm in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho.
Cortland. Okay, so way up north right now. You guys are probably getting really cold, I'm guessing.
Yeah, we have a lot of snow right now.
Nice. So let me tap into that for just a second because you posted up there. I seen you had kind of been in these different places, but what ultimately landed you up in Coeur d'Alene?
Well, my dad's in the military, so the only reason that I moved around was because of that. And then they wanted to
Mm,
come here, so I just followed them, I guess.
gotcha. So you're kind of at their mercy.
Yeah, not
Okay.
anymore per se, but like when I was younger, because I moved here in third grade.
Oh wow. Okay. Okay. So you've been there for quite some time now,
Yeah,
and I seen that earlier. I mean, how old are you now? I'm not even quite sure how old are you now.
19.
19. So at 14, though, you released a first single, right? And
Yes.
that kind of was your launch into music. Talk to me about that and how you were able to put together a project, or first single, I should say, at 14 years old. How did that whole thing come about?
Well, I had like this voice teacher that I would show I had like this app on my phone that I would kind of record little songs on, like
Hmm.
multi-track songs, and I would show him, and one day he was like, "You should get in the studio and record those." So I recorded an album at 14, I think. And yeah, and I don't know, it was just like kind of a whirlwind. It was a lot of trial and error. So,
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah,
And I don't think I knew exactly what I wanted at that point in my life.
sure.
So, that was a little challenging, but
Yeah. Well, at 14 years old, I think you get a little bit of so you get some grace, right? At 14,
yeah.
I don't think you've figured everything out yet, but that's part of the beauty, I think, with you tapping into music that young, and it allows you to really start tapping into your thoughts and, emotions and really trying to understand who you are and kind of how the world that you're living in is impacting you, etc.
Yeah.
And so that makes sense. You know, one of the things I've seen is your music, or you might even describe it as kind of a melting pot, like
Mhm.
pop with hints of jazz or R&B and folk. Like, what kind of artists have really shaped this eclectic mix of yours that you have currently?
I think some really big inspirations for me are like Etta James, Ella Fitzgerald, um, Olivia Dean is one of my recent, very like she inspires me a lot. I feel like more than pretty much anyone.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
the Katie Tupper as well, and then like John Mayer and Lizzy McAlpine.
Mhm. Okay. Yeah. What specifically about them impacts you so much?
I think like the jazz side of things, I have always had like a passion for jazz. I did jazz choir in high school and I really loved it. Just like getting to scat and like improvise like on the drop of a hat.
Hmm.
All the time was really fun. And I mean, I started wanting to do pop, and then I kind of realized that like my calling was more into like pop, jazz, R&B like mixture because I love jazz so much, but I also love pop. So it's like that mixture. And like also I think I have some musical theater influences as well because I did
Mm.
musical theater my pretty much my whole life from the age of 8 to 17, I believe.
Oh,
So
okay.
that definitely is has influenced my maybe my writing style a little bit and maybe the way that I
Mhm.
sing things, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, in some of your writing style, from what I've been able to pull, it's like kind of poetic, deeply emotional in some sense. Would you say that a lot of your songs that you're writing, is it more autobiographical, or are you kind of pulling stories from what you're seeing around you and people that you know
I
and
think
whatnot?
when I was younger, I would take stories from other people a lot because obviously I didn't have like that many experiences.
Hmm.
But now I definitely do a lot of stuff like that that's resonates with me and comes from my story. But I am always open to doing like stories of other people. I love doing that because it has a different perspective in my opinion, and it's
Yeah,
a different way of writing.
gotcha. That's cool. Let's speaking into this creative process of yours too. What does that typically look for you? Like, are you somebody who goes off into your own room and just closes the door and writes alone, late at night? Do you collaborate with other people with your guitar? Like, how does that whole creative process look like for you when you're constructing a song?
Honestly, I feel like it's very different every time I write a song. A lot of the times I write on my piano because that's my main instrument.
Mm,
I don't really write on guitar. I used to when I was younger, I used to write on ukulele a lot. Because that's really what the only thing I could play. But
yeah,
now I pretty much write um on piano, but I think I really just try to write when people aren't home. I still live with my parents, so I don't really have like privacy in that sense where like I can get away and write.
sure.
Because the piano's downstairs. Obviously, you can't move a piano. Um, and yeah, so I just kind of wait until everyone's gone and I write then, which is not ideal, but it's just kind of I can't write in front of other people.
Yeah,
Unless they're like a co-writer or something. I cannot write in front of my family. So, yeah, it's just a lot of pressure. So,
sure. Oh,
um
that's interesting though. But you feel like that's pressure to write in front of them, but you mentioned like being comfortable with jazz theater. So I'm guessing like on stage, you don't really have a problem being
I've
on stage
never
there, or
yeah, I've never really had stage fright per se. I mean, I get like a little nervous, but like I feel very comfortable on the stage. I feel like I don't feel very comfortable when it's like a very small audience and I know people, which is so
hmm.
weird, but yeah, I don't know.
No, I get it. Especially when it's people that are close to you. It probably
Yeah,
kind of hits a little bit different, right?
exactly.
Yeah. So with on the live performance front, what would you say, is the most favorite, live performance that you've been able to experience to date since you started doing live shows?
Well, one thing that I really enjoyed was getting to um last year I had a Christmas show and it was just here in Coeur d'Alene and it was very fun. Sold out show and I had really incredible openers and it was just a really great night because it was filled with people that like support me and really like to hear my music and I feel like I play a lot of restaurants and stuff that people just don't really listen and it was very refreshing to have
Yeah.
people you know, listen to that. But then I opened for Colby Calais in last summer,
Hmm.
um, and that was amazing because it was a huge stage and I've never played anything like that. And it was like all original songs. I think I did one cover and it was really, really amazing.
Yeah, that's what's up. I think one of the things that you could probably benefit from right now, you mentioned you still have at home, and you don't necessarily have some of the pressures, probably, right, of being out there in the proverbial starving artist, where they're just grinding to try to find the next gig. This probably gives you a little bit of room to breathe and really explore yourself creatively and find out where your lane is as you're running, being an artist. But what are some of the other challenges that you've experienced as being, an artist who's out there trying to, crack a spot open for you to exist in this sphere?
Um, I mean, honestly, I feel like I don't really being at home doesn't really help with that. I still feel like I'm gigging every single weekend and
Mm,
like as much as I can.
hmm.
And I also have a day job, which is kind of hard sometimes because I have a lot that I'm
Sure.
doing and like I have to do a lot on social media as well, so that's a lot of work. And I don't know. Yeah, social media has always been a struggle for me because of obvious reasons. But yeah, so
Yeah. What would you say has been some of the biggest learning lessons to date then that you've picked up? I mean, besides the fact that it's hard, like you gotta juggle multiple things right now. Like you're juggling a job, you're gigging every weekend, you're trying to keep a
hmm.
presence online. Like what's the biggest learning lesson you're taking away from
Well,
all
something
that?
that has really helped me is I feel like when I didn't have a day job and I was just like living off of music, it felt a lot more like a job. And right
Okay.
now, like I have my day job and that obviously feels like a job.
Sure.
So it kind of allows me to be a little bit more creative with my
Hmm.
music and like feel like an artist per se. And I don't know, I've been trying to stay away from like the gigs that don't really, I don't know, that like kind of suck the life out of me.
Yeah.
And like don't really like yes, I get paid for them, but like do I want to, I don't know. I feel like a lot of them are just people not listening to you and not caring. So,
Sure.
like, do I want to do that anymore? And I'm kind of like moving away from those,
Hmm.
not doing them as much because I
Yeah.
do have a day job and it allows me to um, pick and choose a little bit more.
hmm
So, yeah.
I think there's wisdom in that, of learning to be a little bit more selective about what you're after. I mean, that's you could translate that and even into other sectors that aren't related to music per se, but
Yeah,
when you're
exactly.
developing a brand and building clientele, right? Like you want to know who it is that you're targeting and kind of set up
Exactly.
standards.
Hmm.
So I think you're spot on with doing that. That's cool. Um, for somebody who's never like kind of checked you out before, like seen you perform live, what would you describe your live performance like? Like what is that? What's the energy that you bring to the show, and how does that look for somebody coming and checking it out?
I feel like a lot of my shows, I've been doing a lot of solo gigs and duo gigs recently. Just more like acoustic, stripped back, very intimate shows. Because
Hmm.
I feel like that's really what I've been enjoying the most because I do play full band stuff and I love my band. My band is amazing. But I feel like the shows that we do play, aren't as fulfilling because they're mostly in bars and
Hmm.
it's they just want people just want to dance when you have a full band.
Yeah.
So, and I don't love that culture. I mean, obviously it's like something that people like to do, but I really
Sure.
like people to listen to my lyrics because that's what I focus on and like I
Hmm.
want them to listen to like the things that I'm saying.
Yeah.
Um so I feel like I've been trying to do I have another Christmas concert coming up and it's going to be very intimate and um just stripped back and like focused on connecting with my audience
Mm.
instead of them just using my music to dance. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh,
Um,
absolutely.
so and I do play piano, so it's like definitely like that vibe. Like more like
Hmm.
jazzy R&B vibe. It's not like super playful, fun stuff. But you know, so
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is fun to the people that can appreciate that kind of music, right?
exactly.
Like,
Like that's what I would want to go watch. I don't know, but
yeah. No, I think the point there is that there is an audience for everything. So,
exactly.
what your style of music or what you're leaning towards, yeah, it might not be the stereotypical, bar vibe, but
Hmm.
that's completely okay and that's fine. And there's an audience for your music, and so you
Yeah.
just got to keep chipping until you get them.
And I think one thing I've realized as well is like not caring about being there for every single audience because like
Hmm.
everyone has their audience, you know, like the people that do that don't necessarily do the things that I do and vice versa. And I'm like, I don't need to cater to all these audiences. I really just need to focus on my audience and give them all my energy because they're the people that I need to be focusing on because they actually care. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, absolutely,
that's one thing I've
absolutely.
learned as well.
That's awesome. With regards to, you got an upcoming show that you're going to be doing for this holiday season. Is there any other work that you're currently working on for releases? A new EP, new album, new singles, etc.
Yeah, so I'm releasing a Christmas EP right now. The first two singles on it have already came out. And then this Friday the whole EP comes out. It's a holiday
Nice.
EP, two covers
Hmm.
and two originals.
Yeah.
And then I've been like behind the scenes working on another EP that's obviously not holiday oriented.
Hmm.
And I don't know when that's gonna release, but because I haven't even started recording it, but I have a lot of the songs written on it, and I have a pretty good vision of like what I want and who's gonna be on it, all that kind of thing. So
Yeah, that's awesome. What would you describe the kind of overarching theme of that or sound that you're kind of exploring?
So that EP I feel like is gonna be more of like a story EP, kind of like the phases of love and kind of life in general.
Hmm.
Because there's a lot of sad songs on it, but there's also a lot of like uplifting love songs on it. So it's kind of a mix of that, and I want to put it in a specific order that it makes sense, kind of like you're watching a movie.
Yeah.
Um, or like listening to someone's life story or something.
Hmm.
And it's definitely gonna go for that like oh, I forgot to mention Norah Jones in my um influences. But Norah Jones, like Olivia Dean, Katie Tupper, Lizzy McAlpine kind of style
Hmm.
for like instrumentation wise. And I'm hoping to have my band that plays with me play on it because they haven't gotten to play on anything I've recorded yet, which is just crazy
Hmm.
because I love them so much. And I really want them to be on the project.
Yeah.
So I want it to feel pretty live and, like kind of like you're sitting in the room,
Yeah.
like kind of like a Lake Street Dive kind of thing, because I love
Okay.
that vibe. But
Yeah. That's
yeah.
what's up. So for audiences that are listening, what's something that you would say you hope people understand about you as an artist that maybe doesn't always come across, in a bio or them coming across a track of yours? What's something that you would hope that they see about who you are as a person and as an artist?
Probably just that, like, I write music um as a way of like coping and like expressing the ways that I feel, and that's like my art form, and I love sharing it with people, and I love like when people can relate to things, and I don't know, I feel like a lot of the times like the bios don't really touch on like um the kind of person I am and like the kind of connection that I want to have with people.
Yeah.
So I guess that aspect of it, but
Yeah. I appreciate you sharing that. Yeah, because sometimes I feel like there's so much more to a person than, what somebody's going to be able to see on social and whatnot. And
Yeah, and like their accolades and yeah.
Yeah, exactly. We see the kind of the shiny side of everything, and a lot of people will try to put their best foot forward on there for obvious reasons. But even when you're trying to express yourself through music and get somebody to gain a sense of who you are, it's somewhat limited on what you can do there. And so, yeah, that's where that question was coming from. Well, that's awesome. Well, Sydney, this has been great. Super stoked that you jumped on board with me to have a combo.
Yeah.
Where can people catch you at if they're looking for you online?
I am Sydney Dale Music. Sydney spelled like the Australia. And that's like for every social media platform. And then on like streaming platforms, I go by Sydney Dale, not Sydney Dale Music. So yeah, that's pretty much where you can find me. I have my website, sydneydalemusic.com. And I have some merch on there and some videos and stuff if you want to check that out. So
that's awesome. Well, thank you again, Sydney. Appreciate your time jumping on board with me here, and we'll catch you next time.
Yeah, thank you so much.